All right, everybody. Good evening and welcome to Indianapolis. Garrett Jenkins up here in the booth, joined tonight by Robert Will Hoyt.
Yeah, it hurt me pretty bad too.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
Practice is just concluding here. We're going to pull up the pylon. Cade Cannon.
Sucks.
Cade Cannon on top right now with a
I was told to reach that
53:03.
button, I'm sorry.
And right now, if he can just escape tonight, he will potentially, possibly be locked into the playoffs tonight. Robert, anybody you want to look at, shout out, like anybody you see that could potentially be a favorite tonight? As I do a mic check real fast. Mic check.
I would say kind of keep an eye on Colton Ward, and he's always going to be up there. I would say, I don't know, really, it's going to be kind of hard because I haven't really been able to really check in on anybody to see how the cars were handling or anything like that, but I think they'll be able to get it.
19.
So
yeah. 19 cars on hand tonight. One of the bigger fields that we have. New faces join us tonight. Hunter Azell, one of them. James Monin, Thomas Hernandez, and several, and I think one or two more, or I might have them all. Yeah, I do got them all. Oh no, Robert McKay. I knew I missed one. As right now, we need to get that off and get rid of that. Right now, Colton Ward, Robert, one of the new guys here. Can't really call him new no more. Has been racing now a number of weeks, but has burst onto the scenes like I haven't seen in a long time. What's your opinion on this kid?
He's a hell of a driver. He's definitely figures each track out week after week, and he has made it known that he's going to be a contender up in the front every week. So I've seen him in some other races prior to him coming into Inspired, and he can definitely, give everybody a run for the money.
For sure.
So,
one of the drivers tonight who, of course, for those of you that was here 2 weeks ago, is actually Colton's lap will not count as he has a black flag exiting the pits that he has not served, so probably by design. But if for anybody that was there last week, it was an emotional time for the driver to 43, Mike Hauser, who, even though his one win would not lock him in on wins, coming into tonight, Mike Hauser has officially locked in his playoff berth in 3 weeks or in 4 weeks' time, which start at Darlington. So, I mean, for Mike, Robert, obviously one of the consistents of Cade Cannon goes to the top of the board at a 53.143. But back to Mike real quick. Obviously, one of the most consistent drivers, has the best average finish. But do you think the lack of wins does that hinder him in potentially making a Final Four appearance, or do you think that the consistency should carry him straight into the Final Four?
Coming down to the Final Four, the lack of wins I could see could possibly knock him out. Just because we do have multiple winners, and they can win at any track at any time. I think that since he did get his first win of the season already, I think he's got that confidence and he's had that momentum because, like you said, in the 4 week time, he's locked himself into the playoffs already. I see him building on it, and he's been consistent all season. He's always been right there, and now that he's in, I could just see him continue going.
Yeah, I see a
so
go ahead.
Oh, you're good.
I see a massive weight lifted off of his shoulders. now that he's locked in and got that win. As right now, your top 5 running order, Cade Cannon still holds the pole by 0.2 of a second over Elijah Fisher, Mike Howard, Stephen Henning, and Thomas Hernandez. Now, you're more familiar with him from the Midnight Racing League. What can you tell me about this guy, being that he's relatively new to me?
I've only raced with Thomas Hernandez a couple times in the Midnight Racing League. He's a good driver. He has his moments where he can really show a lot of talent and speed, especially as long as he can keep his nose clean and avoid the wrecks, which hopefully there's not many of them here at Indianapolis, but everybody knows this is a tough track to win at. As you can see, McKay's already hit the wall during qualifying.
Yeah, not a good start for the driver of the number 1 by no means. Real fast, we'll go ahead and pull in the pole sitter because everybody's ran according to my screen if I can find him. He's always hard to find.
He should be in. I think he's in Chevy too.
Yeah. Cade Cannon, Garrett Jenkins, Robert Wilhoit up here in the booth. You got a copy real fast.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
All right, buddy. On pole, a blistering lap. Me and Robert going to try and make it quick because we're about to get rolling here. What's the plan tonight? Is it try to save tire and ride, or do you plan on staying in front and no matter what it takes here?
Honestly, I think I would like to stay up front to stay away from all the issues and everything, but at the same time, though, try to take care of the tires as best I can and staying up front. But if we have to, lay off it a little bit to keep them protected, I will. But I think at the end of the night, we're going to try to go get it, just try to keep out of trouble and keep it all clean and nice till the end.
Robert, you got any quick questions for him?
Yeah, Kid, I know during testing prior to tonight, you had some issues coming out of turn 1. Is that on the back of your mind about that wall jumping out at you?
A little bit, but I believe after running so many practice laps and kind of getting it down, I know now the difference of it ain't going to stick and what's going to end up in the wall versus what I can at least have enough time to back out of it and stuff now. So I think that's helped us a lot, but that will be one of those things that stay with us in the back of our mind tonight.
He's in your
Alrighty, well, good luck, buddy.
Thank you.
Mike check.
All right, real fast. Race control has to give his usual promos out real quick.
Gotcha. Derek, do you have the mic check?
All right, everybody, welcome to Indianapolis. 2.5 miles tonight. 75% fuel load. 4 sets of tires, 3 in the pits. 1's already on your car. 90 laps tonight. A little bit of a long one. Track temps 123, extra slick. Pace car speed limit 70. Pit road speed limit 55. Again, pace 70. Pit speed 55. 1 fast repair tonight. Good luck, everybody. And race control now done, as Robert will roll through the starting grid here. And as my spotter interrupts me, as usual. So Cade Cannon on pole, Elijah Fisher rolling off second, Mike Hauser third, Stephen Henning, who has a great chance of locking himself in tonight. Newcomer Thomas Hernandez in fifth. 5-time winner this season, Shane Harr in sixth, Jason Williams in seventh.
My bad.
Eighth, Josh Henderson, both of them playoff hopefuls. Aaron Stanton.
On the right.
Aaron Stanton in ninth, Hunter Azell in 10th. Still a lot of chatting. Jordan Jorno, another playoff hopeful, rolls off 11th. AJ Thompson 12th. And Robert, if you want to take the bottom half or the last few drivers, you can if you can see it.
Yeah, I can't see it.
Okay, well then I'll keep rolling with it. Chris Lyota
Sorry.
in 13th. Robert McKay 14th. Bobby Hadaway 15th. Hope I don't butcher this, but Jay Monin in 16th. Brent Hammerhand 17th. Darcy Harr 18th. Colton Ward rounds out the field in 19th. He'll be to the front before too much longer. So
Yeah, don't let that qualifying laps or get him towards the end there. I expect him to be up there in the top 5 within I would say the first 10 laps easily.
easily, yes, I do. I would say the same here. Real quick, new graphic up for the remaining part of the schedule. I do not know how good it can be seen,
Oh boy, I get to start
but
the curve.
tonight, Indy 90 laps. Next week, June 16th, we go to Bathurst, and then the final race of the regular season, June 23rd, Daytona, the full 160 laps. Again, if you cannot see this all the way, I apologize. Didn't have that time to edit it. Then the playoffs, Darlington, Atlanta, Bristol, North Wilkesboro, New Hampshire. And that will finally lead us to culminate to August 11th, the Final Four, live from Miami Speedway. All of that will be here on the Raging Idiot Racing Network. And Robert, I know I'm going long-winded here, but I'm going to go ahead and iterate the points coming into tonight. Mike Hauser, as we have stated, locked in on points, plus 134. Cade Cannon and Stephen Henning, 87 and 82 points to the good. Both of them, if they can finish solid tonight, will have a shot at locking in. And then the points battle, Mike, this is what I look forward to whenever we get to this part of the season. Josh Henderson in by 14. Brent Hammerhand only in by 7 points above Chris Lyota. Jordan Jorno, the amazing run continues, out by 18. Jason Williams out by 25. And if you notice A.J. Thompson here, Robert, and to the people watching, MW, for A.J. Thompson to have a chance of making this playoff, he has to win the next 3 weeks in a row to pretty much a must-win scenario. With that being said, fortunately, weren't able to get the interviews tonight because we got long-winded. We will get some. We'll try to get more at the end of this thing. Robert, what's the mentality? You're coming to the start here. This is not like most racetracks. What are you thinking?
Yeah, it is. So right now I'm making sure everything's set up, ready to go. And I'm just
remember, winner gets a nice
going towards turn 1. I want to make sure we can get through that and through the short chute cleanly. Once we do that, down the backstretch and everything, we'll be able to spread out, and it will become some really good racing. So as long as we can get through turn 1 and going into turn 2 with no issues, I would say it's a success.
We already got a black flag here. That's a little bit of a miscue, no harm, no foul. Mike Hauser, you see him, that 43 already storming up to second. Elijah Fisher falls back down and potentially falling back to the 4th spot as Cade Cannon leads down the back straightaway. So Robert, we got through your first step here as Henning looks to the inside. So now what? Is this all about selling into this long run?
Yeah, you want to, now you made it through the first turn, double wide. Now you're seeing it spread out. Now is the time to basically, you're going to see a lot of movement on the front stretch and the back stretch. So as you can see here, the 1 and Shane Haar running that high side, they're putting with the tires being as cold as they are right now, they're putting them in a tight spot to where they've really got to play with that throttle until they get out and down that backstretch. But as you see, everybody's pretty much staying lined up except for a couple like Mike Hauser in the 43, trying to make moves there on the going to the bottom and getting underneath Shane Haar there through the short chute. As you see, Shane looks like he's dropped back 2 positions now by trying to run that high side.
See right now, potentially going 3 wide. Aaron Stanton at 27 on the bottom here. Colton Ward with him. They top of the show. The draft was going to be very keen tonight, and it's already evident. Of course, you saw when Mike Hauser was on the bottom, nobody there to help. Didn't really weren't able to gain nothing.
Yep. As I said before we took the green, their Colton Ward already up from 19th
To 18th.
up into the top 10.
Or to 8th.
And it only took him, what, 3 laps?
Oh, if that. I mean, I tell you how long he's been sitting there. Of course, we hype up Colton Ward, but really, to really put it in perspective, of course, everybody knows, Shane Harris had one of the best starts to a season that anybody could have, 5 wins. But honestly, there's a lot of competitive guys here, but really, Colton Ward has been able to give Shane an even bigger run for his money than what some of the other ones have. Not saying they haven't, as you ride on board with the driver to 42, but obviously I allude back to the race at Rockingham where Ward was really the only one who could hold on to the 21. Actually became one of the best finishes that this league will probably ever see. Do you think a lot of guys, playoffs haven't started yet, 3 weeks out and then the playoff, but you think a lot of guys are worried about this guy next season and the potential championship threat that he can be?
Right now, I would say it's kind of in the back of their mind, not really letting it take up too much space in it, but it's definitely, and everybody's got an eye on him for sure.
He'll be big in the Inspired draft that will be coming up at the end of the season. He's going to be one of the ones that everybody's going to want.
Yeah, definitely. He's going to be a big free agent.
And I'm glad you mentioned where he started, because right now on lap 5, Colton Ward is our biggest mover, plus 13 spots from the start here, working on the back of Shane Harr. Meanwhile, everybody is chasing that man, Cade Cannon, with a 2-second lead over Elijah Fisher and on down. And for Cade, like I said, he's just got to finish tonight, and he will. Or he's got to finish decent. He can't afford a DNF. Otherwise, it might be an uphill slope in trying to lock in. Right now, if he finishes where he starts tonight, which is the first position, then as we have an issue, somebody's plummeting. Oh, it's a lag. Thomas Hernandez. Okay, I saw the pylon jumped over, but like I said, Cade can win tonight, Robert. He will pretty much guarantee himself into the playoffs. So if you're him, do you try to settle back and try to save tires the best you can, or do you try to build this gap up a little bit more?
So right now, I would say he's trying to push the pace, but it's not really working too well. They're wanting to hang back and save. That's what it looks like everybody's doing right now. Except for Cade. He's trying to stretch it out as long as possible and force them to try to keep up with him, knowing that he had the pace. So it's basically going to turn out to be like a cat and mouse game here. This track temperature is 122 degrees, so it's going to be eating those tires up. So you got to really be playing with them,
Robert McKay
and try not to abuse those Goodyear tires.
Meanwhile, Robert McKay off the pace again, and he will take it down pit road and try not. Go ahead and take it into the pits.
That was a hard hit on that safety
there was
barrier right outside pit road.
Well, there was something else too. We'll look at it here. Something else here prior to this. Oh, and that I guarantee you, I know why it didn't turn that time.
Yep. And that's one thing that I did bring up in the drivers' meeting is watching that wall there coming out of turn 1 and turn 3. That safer barrier, it comes out real quick, and if you get on that throttle too much, the car just gets way too tight, and it just sucks you in like a vacuum.
I do want to take a moment as Josh Henderson up 6 spots from where he starts, second highest mover. You alluded to something a few minutes ago with the cat and mouse not letting him get away for the. I know you probably can't see it on my screen, but for the people at home, great feature that I have worked to make up here. So we're going to look at the lap time history from Stanton or from Cannon to Henderson right now. So it varies, you know. So lap 6, for instance, Robert, only 7,000 slower than Henderson, not hardly ever. But then lap 7, 2/10 K was faster on lap 7. It's just varying off the chart as we got Shane Harr coming in this time.
Cannon to Henderson right now, so
So-
it varies.
Oh,
So
yeah, Robert, I can hear the broadcast in the background.
Oh, sorry.
You're good. And right now I see why there's an incident with Shane and what happened here to the driver that's won 5 races. Look back at it. He just gets up a little too high and of course does not spin out. The wall actually helps him, but that is a
Looks like
neat.
somebody did get to the back of him too as he bounced off the wall.
And then but this is bad already because now Shane Harr has a meatball flag, which means it will be taking a fast repair, his only fast repair. So again, Shane Harr not worried so much about. He ain't had to worry about a playoff spot for the last 7 weeks. So that's still not the position he wants to be in, as he'll probably go 1 lap down, and he will be fighting Robert McKay actually for that free pass spot. Meanwhile, we still look at Cade Cannon here, and I mean, just the first 11 laps has opened up. We're going to focus to the battle for second here. Elijah Fisher and Josh Henderson, of course. Elijah Fisher locked into the playoffs off of his 2 wins. But Josh Henderson getting look at that push down the back straightaway. But Josh Henderson, Robert alluded, 14 points to the good coming into tonight. So far, a solid run for the driver to 72. What are your thoughts on it?
Oh yeah, so Chevy seemed to. Did get a poke in with the Chevy team during testing and stuff, and they were able to kind of work out the kinks and really know how to work it and everything. The biggest thing is, I think what it is that clean air, especially with that gap right now between Cade and from second on back. That first car that's in second is going to have that clean air. It's going to make his car handle, as you see Elijah and Josh
Prime example
off the turn 2 wall.
Prime example of dirty air and how it works right there.
I'm sorry?
That's a prime example of how dirty air works right there, what it does to these cars.
And with these cars, with the track temperatures and the tire compound, it is definitely gonna make it hard to really keep that car off that wall.
What happened here? Okay.
Ooh.
Darcy Harr. No harm, no foul. He says something over the radio, and I thought maybe it was an incident here, so he will make it to the pits safely, no caution because of, well, 1, it's not even a solo car spinning. 2, he is in the pits safely. Apologize for that, Robert. Did not mean to mess up your train of thought there.
No, you're good. As we were going back and looking, it does look like Elijah's now trying to catch Cade.
Actually, I'm glad you
So I
mentioned
wonder,
that.
my question is did Cade burn up his tires too fast, and Elijah safe enough to be
to reel that gap in, because it looks like he's closing fast.
Yeah, he is. I mean, lap 12, 7/10 faster than Cade Cannon. And the last 4 laps, we'll see what this lap is. Not in yet. Now it is 5/10 faster than Cade. The 9 struggling, Robert. He is struggling and falling into the grass of the number 4.
Yeah, I'm just worried that he burnt up his tires too much.
I mean, it doesn't look like doesn't look like he can art that corner as good as the 4 neither.
Yeah, which that would come down to the tire wear. I know Cade was working hard for the short runs. As you can see, Elijah kind of bobble a little bit there going into turn 3. But yeah, Elijah's there. He's coming. We'll have to see if Cade can hold him off, or if he's just going to let him go and let him
We have
burn
another
up his stuff.
situation that I got to check. Robert McKay again, and hard to actually go live. Where's he at? Okay, he's in the pits. No caution. So, Robert, I just wanted to emphasize something real fast. A big-time battle for the lead now. I will get to that in a moment, what I have to say as regards to solo car incidents. And right now, while the run is back down, rules being enforced tonight. If one car spins,
You were blinking pretty bad on my screen there.
if one car spins, and as long we do not throw a caution unless 2 cars are involved. That rule was being enforced. That there's some confusion over last Saturday night at USA in the ARCA series. So if you're seeing a lot of these solo car incidents, one, iRacing is no longer in charge of throwing the caution. That is race control, and he was made aware that solo car spins, as long as it is not a danger, as we got a battle for a lead here, but as long as it's not a danger, then
Elijah kind of got into him a little bit to
then there
force
will
him
be
up.
no caution. Meanwhile, like Robert said, a little bit of contact getting into the 9 here. Cade, he's scrappy. He knows that he's at a disadvantage with the tires, but he's not gonna let it stop him. Side by side now,
Oh, yeah.
and look behind him.
Oh yeah, Colton Ward's coming, buddy. He is on a move. He is.
Up 16 spots.
Yeah, and Colton right now is licking his chops because of them running side by side like this. It's just allowing him to take it easy. As you can see, pulls right up to Elijah's bumper. So it looks like Colton's going to try to battle Elijah for that second spot.
And that's what Cade wants to
And-
see too. Exactly what they want. Oh, a little bit of contact, driving it.
Yeah.
Keep it straight for the
So-
moment Fisher cuts him off.
So that's going to be the biggest key tonight. Watching them go through these turns side by side, because when you do go side by side through these turns and you're close, that bottom line tightens up a lot, and that outside driver is basically taking, if he's trying to run super close, if
going
Elijah's
3
trying to take
wide!
it 3 wide,
On
Well,
lap
thanks better of
17. For Christ's sake. Lord have mercy, it's already getting good.
they are getting aggressive already.
Meanwhile,
As Elijah slices him like a needle in a haystack and takes the lead going into turn 1, as it kind of opens up the door for Colton, but Cade was
Well,
able
look
to
behind.
keep it down low enough to shut it.
and look behind them, the 2 brothers who enjoyed their time at Michigan over the weekend. The 2 brothers, Aaron Stanton, Josh Henderson, they are slowly lurking back there. And I did not recognize who that was for a second, but Jordan Jorno in new colors tonight. Not a bad looking paint job, actually.
Yeah, it's
Pretty snazzy.
that is a nice paint job there.
Anyway, we're going to switch back to pylons, being the pit stops are not happening right now, so everybody can see what their favorite driver is running constantly. So, Robert, we're going to go back and focus in on this battle here as it's calmed down for the moment. Like you said, I think or not Stanton. I think Cannon has used up his tires tonight for this stint. And look at the bottom of the, well, Robert, I know you're looking at the broadcast on your other devices, but when you do, look at the bottom of the screen. Shane Hoare was a bit kind of jumped the gun in saying that he would go a lap down. He is actually on fresher tires. Is there any potential way, 35 seconds back I know, but is there any potential way he could flip what was an unfortunate predicament into something that could help him? Or is he pretty much screwed without a caution?
Well, as long it looks like he's slowly, as I say that, it looks like he's slowly gaining on the number, was it 67 of Munnin. So I don't think, as long as he takes care of those tires, which I'm sure he's probably not pushing it very hard, he's just trying to stay on the lead lap. Right. Caution would help him out drastically to get back up there. But if he stays the way he is, he takes care of those tires, don't burn them up, I can see him jumping quite a few guys as they're coming into pit.
Meanwhile,
because the pit road speed, you do have to slow down a lot to go down this long front straightaway pit just to get to your stalls. So it will be interesting to see if he decides to pit with them to get back on the same strategy, or try to stretch it out more now since he does have fresher tires.
Meanwhile, talked about tonight, this track's already proven tricky as drivers getting into the wall, as Fisher almost does. You saw at the bottom of the screen, folks, one to play also hopeful. Brent Hammerhand had to pit as he is way up the track and hard into the wall. And this is what you talked about with that safer barrier, but it seems like as the tires wear out, it's getting tighter and tighter to try to make that corner. Of course, if you're looking at these two, you're thinking to yourself, and they're making it look easy. Oh,
yeah, well, as you say that, Elijah bangs off the wall coming out of turn 4,
people.
and opens it up, opens the door for Colton. But yeah, it's a lot of tracks when the tires wear out and everything else, the cars get real loose. At Indy, it does the exact opposite. They get tight. So it's really, with the tires burning off, you got to let off going into the turns a lot sooner. Get on the throttle later than you need to, or you want to, just so you can get that drive off. Especially with this long green flag run, you want to make sure that you're really taking care of your car. I mean, that's going to be the biggest thing. The draft is going to keep you close, but you've got to manage those tires. The tires are going to be a major key.
We can see a run now building from the 42, and I think we've already seen that with Cade Cannon. Of course, Kay led the first 17 laps of this event, but has since fallen back to 4th as right now Robert McKee in the pits after having another meatball flag, a tough break for the driver. Or Robert McKay, I don't know what, I can't remember what I said, but Robert McKay in the pits right now, as it has not been the debut that he wanted. But of course, Robert, this is not an easy track to make a debut on by any stretch. So right now, as far as as I call them, the new faces and new places, right now the highest running of the new drivers joining us tonight, that would be Thomas Hernandez running in 8th. Hunter Ezell just drops to 11th. The 60 of Jay Monin running 14th, and of course Robert McKay out of the race right now in 19th. Do you potentially see any of these drivers playing spoilers tonight?
Really, it's anybody's track. It's gonna come down to who can take care of their tires better.
You see 77 up the track. Whew. Sorry.
That was close. He almost pancaked that right side. But yeah, it's the tires are gonna be key. Strategy is gonna be key. It's definitely gonna come down to who's gonna have the better strategy, who can stretch it the longest, who takes that gamble and short pits it, or really kind of push it. Cade had that huge lead out and burnt up his tires way too fast at the beginning of this run, and I definitely think that as you see Hauser and Lyota doing, yeah, you're gonna see guys go back, go up, go back. It's just gonna be one of those days, and really it's gonna be a mental test as you see Mike Hauser dropping in to take his pit stop.
So lap 26, are we assuming that this is the number as we focus back up at hand? Are we assuming that anywhere from lap 26 to 30, that is the field window, as Aaron Stanton making a move on Colton Ward now, Stanton up 7 spots from where he started. So again, lap 26, is this kind of the field window to 30 if you're on the primary strategy?
Yeah, I mean, the tires kind of start falling off before the end of the fuel run, but if you can push it and really take care of it, I think you're going to start seeing some of the guys that were in the back.
Oh, Cannon!
Oh, as you see Cade bounce off the outside wall there coming out of turn 4, you're going to see not just the tires really starting to let go of the car, but in the grip going everywhere. But the guys that were hanging out in the back, they're going to, they were mainly like Aaron Stanton here challenging Elijah. He was hanging back. He was, he was hanging back there in like 6th, 7th spot. Not really using his stuff, just taking his time, waiting for the long run to really get in. And then once he saw that it's getting close to where everybody's going to have to start pitting and their tires are starting to wear off, that's when he made his move, and it took him straight to the front.
We got another driver coming out. I believe it was the 40 of Jason Williams. So Chevrolet,
77 pitting, 77 pitting.
I recognize that voice. Chevrolet's in, Jordan Jorno, Josh Henderson. It was 72, not 42 or 62, whatever I heard.
67 pitting, 67 pitting.
So right now, as you see, Fisher giving Hauser his lap back. Teammate courtesy, nothing wrong with it. It's going to be interesting to see, though, Robert, how far somebody like Shane Harr or Brent Hammerhand, how it can really affect, as
12 pitting at a time.
Brent Hammerhand is on his 7-lap stint. Shane Harr is on an 18-lap stint, so they can go about half of a stint further. You see a lot of drivers in. We'll actually get a view of it. Jorno and them, of course, Robert, if you're a playoff hopeful tonight, you're hoping that you can build enough points to the cut line to where you can survive next week at Bathurst, which is a 3.8-mile road course.
You can see here, Shane was back in 17th spot before all of these green flag pit stops happened, and he's worked his way up into the top 10 now by being able to go longer because of that early incident.
I think we overran each other.
So like I said, it is, and he's down below
he's worked it to where he's less than 30 seconds behind. So his pace hasn't really dropped off like everybody else before him has. So it's going to be real interesting to see how long he can actually go before those fresher tires start gaining on him.
Well, and the other thing, as the leaders are actually in, he should inherit the lead here. But one thing you ask any driver in the garage, myself included, racing with him in prior past, that you see Stanton or not Stanton, but Fisher and Ward are in the pits. But back to Shane Haar, the man knows how to save some tires. Like, he can save tires probably better than anybody out here. And we don't mean that to exaggerate. Like, he can actually save one of the best. He's one of the best, Robert, is what I'm trying to get out, at saving tires. So, do you think that maybe he can hold a candle to these guys that are just taking, tires now? Like, how do you think the fall off with that's going to be?
Well, so it's looking like right now first and second's got a 20 to 21 second gap, and it looks like it might be growing. As long as I think with his older tires compared to the fresh tires, if he can hold on to it and manage that gap, he's going to be in a perfect position, because I believe Hadaway might still have to
Hadaway's in pit now.
But he is gaining on him, so it will see, you know, how much of a gap he can manage, and see if they burn up their tires to try to catch him, knowing, or they could try to keep their cool, stick to their strategy. As you can see, Stanton has gained, it looks like, almost 10 seconds just that lap in that gap.
And for those of you looking at the screen here, it looks complicated. It's really not. This little thing at the bottom here, it goes off of a 5-lap average like the other one does. And pretty much, because you're riding with Aaron Stanton, he's tracking Shane Haar. So to the right, Haar was gaining the gap, obviously, pit stops. But now around lap 30, up to lap 30, you see it goes from 29 seconds to now he is 13 seconds off. And, well, who is that for starters? Oh, okay, that's Darcy. Him and, is that Darcy? Yeah, that's Darcy. Him and Shane running identical cars tonight. So, I mean, right now,
Shane's back on the wall again.
Remember, folks, he's already used that one fast repair. So any damage he gets now is either you sit there, knock the time off as you can under caution if there is one, and do not count it out with 59 to go. Or it can be terminal. Now, instead of course, Robert can tell you that iRacing did an update. Been about a month and a half, 2 months ago now. Used to, if you were to blow your engine or transmission for, say, it'd be 30, 45 minute wait, real time. Not game time, but real time. Nowadays, you injure your car to where it's got too much damage and you've done it out of a fast repair, I'm sorry.
Hey, Doris, is this how
You're
it goes
done.
in the slow club?
Like, you're done for the race. You are done. You cannot continue. And, Robert, does that add a little bit more stress to these drivers, knowing that for those who, like Shane, who has not used the fast repair tonight, or who has used one, I should say?
Yeah, that's definitely on your mind. Makes it where you have to focus 100 times more to make sure you're hitting your marks, because one bad judgment and it could cost you the entire race.
Yeah, we've already seen something similar. Well, I cannot say that any of these incidents were bad judgments for say, but as you see AJ Thompson trying to get his lap back. Shane slammed the door on him. And there it is.
Shane's
he needs to try to keep as many people behind him as possible. So you could. That's one reason why I could see him trying to slam that door instead of letting him by. Just because everybody is running faster than he is right now.
He barely
As
kisses
he
the
bounce
wall.
off that safer barrier again, I would not be surprised we start to see him get ready to jump into the
He's
pits
coming up.
here soon with how loose his car is.
He's coming up as we pull up my personal favorite thing, the stint leap pit strategy. And there you see it, folks. So Shane Harr on a 25-lap stint. We saw drivers coming in from, well, if you're Mike Hauser, Mike could have took that gamble and short pitted, try to get some track position out of it. But from pretty realistically, 26, 27 to 30, realistically, is the pit number. So Shane Harr, Robert, we should be expecting him in anywhere between the next 5 to 6 laps here, or somewhere in between there.
Yeah, we're gonna be seeing him coming in here soon, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him take this next stint if it goes green like it has been since the start of the race. As you can see, Aaron Stanton and Eliza Fisher now finally into the same camera view as him. I wouldn't be surprised to see him try to pull a rabbit out of the hat and try to gamble for a caution. I know that's probably what he's needing really bad
begging it
right now, so he doesn't lose all that time. But
another person you mentioned, funny you mentioned, loss of time, your pole sitter, as there he is. So we're going to switch the pylon so it doesn't override one overlay, and I'm going to actually have to fix something with that. But you talk about one driver, loss of time. Kay Cannon led the opening 17 laps, but since then, he has not really been a factor. And I wish I was about to say, Marty Snyder, do you have an update? But I don't have a pit reporter, so I'm kind of out on that deal.
yeah.
But
No, I could see you're gonna see some off the wall strategies, especially if it stays green to the end. You're gonna see somebody try to pull, a rabbit out the hat and swing for the fences, and it's just a matter of who's gonna do it and when.
Yes, sir. Meanwhile, we'll give a little bit of love to the chat. Birthday boy and weekend sweep, Justin Millicar is in the chat. Inspired Marketing President Teresa Fisher is in the chat. 13 viewers so far tonight. Appreciate all of y'all joining in, as many other ones are there as well. And they're looking at, honestly, normally I can probably see somebody who would have a good chance to potentially call a winner, but Robert, it's like you said, pit strategy the way it is, I mean, we got 53 laps to go, and it's anybody, as fans of the 67, Jay Manun, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. I had to get with him at some point during the week, see how to pronounce it, but he has retired from this event, and he will be joining the one of Robert McKay in the pits. As right now, Robert, you see Aaron Stanton leading with 53 to go. And yeah, so Aaron's an interesting case as well. Of course, one of them, he is locked in on the playoffs, but his driving style, and he can be aggressive 1 minute and then conserve the next. Do you, of course, unbiased opinions, Robert, but do you potentially see him going deep with the playoffs looming just over the horizon? Like, where do you see Aaron as potentially a Final Four, or will he be one that has his work cut out for him?
I so if we did predictions right now, I would say the final four.
35 sitting in the front, 35.
I could see it being Shane Haar, Aaron Stanton, Elijah Fisher, and them three 100% locked in to the final four. Fourth,
Yes, sir.
I
That's
feel
a
like
toss-up.
is going to be a wild card.
That's a toss-up because you got so many great drivers, and one of them drivers actually has one win on the season, but has been competitive. You're looking at him, Stephen Henning Jr. Always one of the consistent ones. There you see he's working on playoff hopeful Josh Henderson down the back straightaway. This is the battle for 6, but I will say Steven's one of them. He has great races. I mean, he's been consistent enough to where that if he can finish solid tonight, he has locked himself into a playoff berth for the most part. Whether he's officially locked in after tonight or he is still light years as Henderson off the wall a little bit back there, but I think Henning could be considered a dark horse for say whenever the playoffs go around. Because I mean, me and you seen Steven before. If there's somebody that can steal a win right out of somebody else's grasp, it is Stephen Henning. I've seen it 2 or 3 times in different leagues. And Robert, we actually saw it in race 2 at the Daytona Road Course when Shane Hoare had that mishap on the last lap. Who capitalized on it?
Yeah.
Steven did. So
Yep.
does that I really feel like being in the right place at the right time when the playoff starts. I think if the driver of the 12 can do that, I think it'll help him tremendously. What's your thoughts
Yeah.
on it for say?
No, definitely. Steven he would be one of those, him, Mike Hauser, Jordan Jorno. I see them guys there being basically the wild card, where any one of them can make it into that final four and steal it out of the grasp of, the top 3, outstanding guys that have been at the front of the field every race and has won multiple times. He definitely is one that you have to watch because he is consistent. He is constantly in the top 10. I do believe he has, I think, one of the most top 5s and top 10s out of all of the consistent drivers. So he's there, and it's just a matter of will that magic hat fall into his lap, or will somebody be able to really keep it in their grasp?
I'm glad you say that. I'm looking at the points now. As far as Steven has only 1 third place finish this season, but 6 top 5s, 12 top 10s, and has completed one of the most laps of all the drivers at 1493. So the consistency is there. The one thing that I feel like can hinder him is he's about ranked 5th, and I'm saying that just by looking at it. I ain't actually doing it in my head because I can't do all that and commentate, but he is about 4th or 5th on the average finish board. So potentially what could really bite him in the playoffs is he starts off at, let's say, Darlington, which is going to be a massive trial for the 8 drivers as we focus back in on Aaron Stanton with a 4.3 second lead, but it's going to be a massive challenge for Darlington for any one of the 8 hopefuls that gets in. Do you think that average finish can be not just him, but several drivers' Achilles heel.
Yeah, I mean Darlington's is a tough track. It's going to be tough for everybody. Kind of like Indianapolis. Um, just the shape of it and the way that the lines run is a difficult thing. I mean, turns 1 and 2 is completely different than 3 and 4. So it's, you can be on it harder in 1 and 2, and then you gotta really take care of it 3, 4, and try to keep just like here where you gotta on the exit of the turns. You really gotta make sure you have that angle right and the right amount of gas. Otherwise, you're gonna be bouncing off that outside wall constantly. That is a hard track to tame for even the best drivers out there. So it's going to be consistency is going to be key. I think strategy is going to help you with the upcoming races. It's definitely for the guys that are trying to get locked in off of points.
Oh, Jordan, a little wide.
Jordan went way wide there. I wonder if he got super tight. Just running by himself. So
I'll let you finish your statement. Then I want to give a little insight on this driver here.
It's just going to be who can be the consistent at the right times. I can see Steven really getting there and getting locked into that Final Four when it gets to that point, if he's in the position to do so. So as long as he can hold his momentum that he's had, definitely don't count him out.
Well, we're zoomed in. I know we've been as Jordan off the wall a little bit. I know we've been on it for a minute, but I've been wanting to say this for a long time as you ride on board with the driver of the 84. I met Jordan in another league, the Venom Truck Series. I actually met him before that in what a lot of people know as NASCAR these days. And I will say this, the kid, granted his temper might get the best of him sometimes, there is a drive to try to succeed here. You heard, and for those of you that watched 2 weeks ago at Chicagoland, the disappointment in his voice. It's told it all. Wanting that win, I don't think he knows what he wants more, his first win or a playoff berth. But Robert, I'll tell you something about the drive that he has, and that is, he came.
I'm surrounded in a hard standard.
He is AJ Thompson, loose off the bottom, keeps it straight. We stay green, but 3 weeks ago. Well, 3 or 4 races ago, I really will say, he was out by 68 points, something like that. In the time since, Robert, he comes into the night only out by 18, and right now he is running in 4th. So it's one of them things. He's got a bulldog attitude. He does not quit. And of course, going in next week, he's said numerous times, road courses are not his cup of tea. I don't think they're anybody's, really. Unless you're Shane Harr, but that's besides the point.
Unless your name's Shane Harr, and then it just becomes the Shane Harr show.
Yeah. But, I mean, I really like Jordan. I do. He's a great driver, and right now he is doing everything he physically can to make these playoffs. Meanwhile, some drivers have pitted. I know Josh Henderson, there he is. He pitted. Your times, and of course I ask this because I suck at pit strategy whenever I do race. How does where you're running, take Chris Lyotta that's running in 11th or Jason Williams 12th. How do you decide whether you want to try to short pit or go long here, depending on your position and how far back? As we have an issue. Had an issue somewhere.
Right.
Caution is out. Not for Shane Har, but for something else.
Oh!
Oh, I lied. Both the Hars. Hunter Azell. Chris Lyota.
Oh, man.
What happened here?
And
Shane Har's done.
Watch out turn 4.
he's already had that fast repair. That
that's
is
terminal.
something that he did not need to see happen.
That is terminal. Look at that right front. It is killed, and yeah, it does not even turn. All right, let's go ahead and look back here because two separate things happen here. All right, so let's see. So the 19's up high. 19 gets into the wall and comes down in front of 21. Cuts the nose, and Shane just loses control.
Guys,
Darcy nowhere to go.
Right behind us here.
God
Go,
almighty.
Go.
And really, I mean, the 19, he does. So the 19 is way up the track. He knows Robert. He's in the wall, and
You can see Shane never did make contact with him. It's just he locked him up and dove to the inside to try to not make contact. And when you do that, especially in the short shoot, it's real slick down there, and it just shot him right back up into the field.
well, that's right on board with Shane Har and C, because there may have been a little bit of contact here. Just a little, if any. Enough to affect him, but we'll see right here. So there you see the 19. He's already in the wall. He's coming down the track. Oh, there is a little bit.
That was like the luckiest pit stop, Colton.
So there is
But as you can see, once you get down there, you can see his car was sliding,
What can I say?
trying to save it. He gets into that grass, and it's over. That's a wild ride there. Almost on his lid after getting T-boned.
Yes, it was.
And then getting smacked in the driver's side by Chris Lyota there, who had nowhere to go.
Well, ultimately, and boils down to it, the 19, he does cause that caution whenever he comes off the wall and nowhere for Shane Har to go. So, race control, I'm pretty sure we'll put this on the 19, which a bad break for Shane Har turns out to be worse. So now, of course, Shane Har fans, he is guaranteed himself into the playoffs. We've already established that. But done for the night, as Colton Ward will resume the race lead here. And I believe race control is ready to give his verdict. So we'll go down to Jim Bob, senior race control.
Sorry, Brent, you can't get your way around.
All right, 19 bounces off the wall, comes down into the 21, triggering the incident. 19 will receive his first EOL. That is all other than good job, guys, for going the first 50-some laps under green. It's been great watching it. Keep it up.
Just so you guys know, I will stay low on the front stretch.
So Hunter Azell will receive the first EOL of the night, as Darcy Har out of the race. He's already used his fast repair. So for the Har fans, both of them are done. You hate to see it too, Robert. They were putting on. Shane was doing everything he can to try to get back to it here.
Yeah, and that just is a big heartbreaker. But that kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier tonight, where you're really fighting this track, and when your car gets too tight and you get into that outside wall, it is not very forgiving. Let's just say that.
It is not. And of course, you know.
I can tell you from past experiences at this track, you get into that outside wall, especially in the short shoot, with how straight it becomes. and the safer barrier dips in instead of out through there, it is, you hit that just right, and your whole front end is done. So it's in the driver's meeting. I try to bring it up to kind of let them know, hey, be careful. Take your time. Don't rush it.
Now everything's
And
I always think of the
you
damn
know,
spork with
the
the
concentrations levels is getting, a lot of guys can't run those long runs like that before they start getting fatigued.
When the guy's looking back at you and has a thing that says
And I will
crash
be
next
pulling
to
this
it,
up here. 60. This is just a warning. You are blinking if it does not clear up after the first 2 or 3 laps. So I'll have to ask you to just hang out until it can get itself straightened out. Just a warning.
Thank you. I'm aware that I am.
As you can see, due to this caution, with Colton staying out, it's got Aaron on the outside of row 2. You've got Cade Cannon in 3rd, Elijah Fisher in 4th, Jordan Jorno in 5th, and Stephen Henning rounding out the top 6.
I know, and I finally get to use the tower. The tower ticker. I mean, they've been pit stops have been all over the place. I've had to keep switching back so I don't cut off an overlay. I know, and I try to be, as we're rolling here. Great restart for the 42, not so great for the 27. But I try to switch. I know I got some fans that, if you remember NASCAR in the 2000s, early 2010s, that had it going across the top of the screen, and then newer generations, they're used to the tower. So I try to alternate between the two.
Sorry, Steve, I didn't mean to
And
cut you
right
off.
now, Ward trying to dip out. Cade Cannon trying to recover from
All good.
burning his tires off earlier in the race. Do you think for Cade, is he gonna take this stint to kind of maybe relax here, or do you see him just going for it like he did in the first go round?
So this was the second, or the end of the second pit stops. So I do believe that that's all the tires that they have. So they've got to stretch these tires out the rest of the way.
Mm.
So
I know somebody.
to
has
me,
said I know somebody has had to.
good old Forky's Forky's out there with. So, but yeah, for me, knowing that if I don't have any more sets left, I'm taking it easy. I'm gonna try to stretch these as long as possible, but at the same time, you don't want to really lose that track position, because if you try to make up all that difference, it's gonna be tough to get back up there.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Shane Hart has declined an interview as he is not in neither chat. So right now, Hunter Azell, the last Toyota in the fight, as I've not done this all race. But for those of you, you can see where your favorite manufacturer is running now on the side of pylon, as it is a Chevy. 4 out of 5 is Jorno looking to the inside of Fisher. A little bit of contact. Fisher, hang on to it, baby. He does. Caution is out, and I did not throw that. All right, I did not throw that, so I don't know who threw it. But meanwhile, one of the fastest cars, Robert, encounters trouble with 35 laps to go, and is the 4 of Elijah Fisher. Oh, boy. We're going to have to take a look at that again.
That was I do have to say though, with making that contact and getting loose, sliding like that in the middle of turn 1, able to keep it off the outside wall, brought it back down, and did not collect anybody, is an awesome job of avoidance of the other drivers there, and a good avoidance of collecting anybody by Elijah, and keeping it off not only the outside wall, other drivers, but also not sliding into the inside wall, that there is no safer barrier that's down in there.
So that
We're going to back this up here all the way down the straightaway. So Jorno looks to the inside, maybe a little bit of a late block, and that's
it's. I think what
not
it
a late
was is
block, but a late
Elijah
move.
didn't realize he was there. Yeah, it looks like Elijah was arcing that corner to try to get a run coming out of it, and Jordan just had that momentum that carried him right in there
Well, and
kind of drove it in deep.
so potentially, because none of these drivers, I don't think, are running actual human spotters. They're running what iRacing gives them. Do you think that, because potentially the way I see it, I can see the spotter as in saying he's clear all the way up until he's already arcing. I mean, I personally see this as two drivers going for the same spot, one not realizing that the other one's there, probably because the crew chief hasn't given him, hey, you got a car to the inside here until, well, you see the results. Do you kind of, how would you feel on that at least?
I mean, it definitely was two people going in for the same spot. It definitely looks like a racing incident to
really
me,
does.
but you know, it's hard to tell because as you can see here, going into the turn, or getting close to the turn, I should say, Jordan does try to make that move, and he got his nose in there, and it just that hole closed up real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't see a way of faulting either driver on this, but it does affect the four massively, as I think race control is ready for his verdict, and he is. So we're going to cut down to Jim Bob. All right, so after reviewing the incident, it really looks like, taking into consideration when and where it happens, that it's two guys going for the same spot. It will be marked up as a racing incident. That will be all, no EOLs at this time. Thank you. So, I mean, how it's viewed. Of course, for some of those that don't do iRacing, they don't understand how slow the spotters can be. Like, it can be a nightmare.
If I came down to him,
That's a tough break for the number 4 Elijah Fisher. It just,
once I hit my brake, it was coming back down the track.
I mean, it is multiple things that go into that, and you know, it's a tough break, but luckily he doesn't have any damage to the car. He's able to keep it going, and I would not, with how fast that car has been all night, I would not doubt that he makes his way right back up there.
So you see now him and Hunter Roselle coming in. Hunter Roselle probably trying to fix damage or not use that
Yeah,
faster.
drop. Yeah, I hit the clutch button. Hit the wrong button.
So I'm assuming that they heard, based on that information, I'm assuming that they heard no EOLs at this
Hey,
time.
it made for a heck of a save, though.
Oh, you hear Elijah? I mean, he's apologizing to Jordan, but honestly,
Very true.
iRacing spotters, they can be a pain. And we're only assuming that that's what the deal was, but that looks about what would happen. So it'll be, I mean, obviously it'll get discussed ultimately it'll get discussed in the post-race meeting that the officials have, or admins, ever how you want to call them. This is not F1, so we don't call them stewards by no means. So, 32 to go, Colton.
Make it a push.
32 to go, Robert.
You're welcome. I looked up. You just come back.
God almighty, man.
Okay.
Is there still the realm of possibility here that some of these drivers cannot make it with 32 to go? Basing by what we've seen off of pit strategy, they can get at max 30. We have 32 to go. What is you think some guys are short? Do you think some are trying to save here? What's your opinion?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you're definitely trying to save. Even before that, you're saving. You know, knowing that there's no way to make it to the end. You're saving to try to stretch it. Trying to take care of your equipment, but definitely, I would say within, well, the fuel window will open up roughly close to, like I'd say 5 to go. And I wouldn't be surprised you start seeing some guys jump in with 15 to go just to get that last bit of fuel to ensure that they can go the rest of the way, because it's definitely going to be a stretch, but it is. You got some guys out there that are really good at saving fuel, and I can see it happening. So
I see Aaron Stanton now stacking up the bottom lane. He cut Cade off late.
Third, dude.
And that will put
Please never give me that jump scare again, ever.
Jordan Jorno in second.
So scary.
The win that I mentioned earlier, but the guy in front that he has to beat is not an easy guy. And meanwhile, coincidentally, it's the same two that came together on the last lap at Chicagoland between Jordan and Stanton that resulted in a little bit of a physical confrontation, beating each other with their cars wise. And you got to wonder, is that playing in the back of Jordan's mind? Like, does this change how he would race the 27 of Aaron Stanton here?
I mean, Chicagoland was a few weeks ago. They've had time to get their tempers down, resolve the issues. I see it being all business tonight, and it's definitely it'd be interesting to see how it plays out. But I'm pretty sure with Aaron already being locked into the playoffs, I don't see him really pushing Jordan.
As we say that. We say that for the first time tonight, Robert. Jordan Jorno will lead. Not by much.
Cade Cannon's pushing Aaron past Jordan.
He got a little high at the track. Sorry, Robert.
No.
Sorry. Dude, this is
no.
This is between the Chevrolets, and they're racing like they don't care about the playoffs right now. Yeah, the Chevy top 5.
Well,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
Everybody wants to win at Indianapolis, and we got another player coming up into the stance. It looks like Jason Williams is wanting to join the dance here.
Oh, he is, and Williams. He is.
I'm just wondering if Colton's tires are finally gone to where he's got to finally get ready to make that pit. But
Ward is on.
As you see, Cade Cannon dive into the inside.
Aaron backed out of that.
Almost taking it 3 wide, but Aaron Stanton backed off to make sure that they didn't go 3 wide into that turn, because it would not end pretty.
No, it would not. And that has given Jorno the lead. And right now,
Y'all send it.
you hear Cade.
You both let up.
Cade freaking. Cade sounds nervous, don't you, Robert?
Oh, yes, he does.
Aaron Stanton now trying to take the lead back away from Jorno. Chevrolet top 5 took the 2/4 of Hernandez and Henning lurking in the back here as pretty much Henderson on down a little bit of gap. Here it comes. God, Williams thought about it.
Williams tried, but Cade slammed that door, stopping him from trying to push it 4 wide. But the Chevys are pushing each other, and
You got to think it's Hernandez and Henning lying in wait. I've mentioned earlier how if there's ever somebody that can still win, it's Stephen Henning. You got to imagine the points implications coming into the night. We've been talking about the points bubble, Robert. We ain't talked about the top 3. So I'm going to explain this real fast here. So as Williams having to really get out of it, that's going to cost him only going to cost him 1 spot for right now. But so the 3 winningest drivers Robert, and to the viewers, they will automatically lock in. If hitting by chance wins, depending on where the points are situated, any drivers within the top 3, 2 inside the top 3, and then another one gets a second win. It goes off of points alone. So the points, there's always a points battle, and I'll say this, Robert, I give Elijah Fisher props for the playoff system that he has came up with for this league, because there's a constant battle somewhere. There's always storylines going in. One of them, who gets the top 3, who gets in on points, who can rally late in the season and potentially knock somebody that's already in the 3 winning the spots and knock them down to a point scenario. And then it rewards the most consistent and winningest drivers. So, I mean, ultimately, one of the best playoff systems I've ever seen. But right now, do you think that maybe Cade and Aaron try to help Jordan? Like maybe let him by, or let him and Jason Williams battle it out here, being that both of them are playoff hopefuls? How do you see them dealing with this?
It's going to be interesting coming down to these last few final laps, because you can see Jordan's kind of hanging back from Aaron to try to build that run coming out of turn 4. Cade had a strong car. I mean, he's our pole sitter. He set the fastest laps, and it looks like he's finally got that number 9 Chevy right back up front, and it's going to be tough to take it from him. I know coming in, he was wanting to win this race, so it didn't matter if he was locked in or not. He was wanting that win. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Hunter Azell in the pits, of course. He's one of the newcomers here, and he's got a lot of potential. Like, the kid's got some good stuff.
Careful.
I've actually spotted for him in another league of his. And the kid's, for somebody that has not been doing iRacing but 5 months, like, he's got something there. Of course, this team motor, Shane Hart, can really help him hone in on them skills. And really, just about anybody can, really. But he's in a good place with Toyota. But, of course, not the debut he's been wanting tonight, as, again, it is one of the trickiest tracks to make a debut. Meanwhile, Cade Cannon Robert holds a 4.2 or a 0.4 of a second lead over Aaron Stanton. Do you think, Cade, do you reckon they're pulling the same move that they did earlier in the race with the 4 of Fisher and the rest of them, letting him burn his stuff off and then just catching him in the end?
Yeah, it's like I said, they were going pretty hard, knowing that they don't have, or they have another pit stop that they potentially would have to make, being short. I could see why Jordan has been holding back and just following them, kind of let them run their stuff. Cade wants to force it to where everybody has to pit. He needs to really get out there, or get up there and control it, and I believe that's what he's trying to do, while everybody else is trying to save to make it to the end. So it's gonna be interesting to see.
And I was trying to do the math in my head, and somebody distracted me. But of course, these drivers on 17 and 19 lap stints, the Chevrolets are. Henderson and Hernandez are actually on an 11-lap stint here. They actually came in and topped off. So if this comes down to a fuel mileage race, Hernandez and Henning, honestly, of course they're 8 seconds back, but they can obviously have a shot here realistically as Josh Henderson running in 6th. Hauser all over the back of Fernandez, and God almighty. Everybody's trying to get everything they can, ain't they, Robert?
Oh yeah, this track, it's tough. It's hard to pick your moments because you always catch them at the wrong spots. So it's all about that momentum. You want to hang back at the beginning of the turns, so you can drive it off hard at the end or coming out of them and get that momentum going down the straightaways. And what really helps them right now is that wind is coming from the north, or going to the north, I believe. And if so, that means, when that wind's pushing them from behind, they can really not really let off the throttle, but they don't have to push it full throttle really to start to save. But then the opposite side of the track, it's going to slow you down drastically coming straight at you.
Yeah, we had the weather on the broadcast on there. I don't know quite what 270 degrees means. I don't know where that would be at on the campus or on the compass, but there is a 6-mile-an-hour wind gust right now. Of course, the track temperature is still 125 degrees and partly cloudy, but the humidity feels about what it feels like down here in North Carolina. Terrible.
Same here in Texas. Let me tell you, it is definitely the devil's house down here. That's how bad it is down here.
Standing off the wall just a little bit. 95 exiting the pits, not for the man that came in as the gatekeeper. This is not the night that Brent Hammerhand won in 1 lap down in 15th. Speaking of the playoff hopefuls, right now Josh Henderson is running 6th. Jason Williams looking in out by 25 right now is running 5th. Of course, Jordan Jorno running 4th. On down through the field, Chris Lyota having a solid night in 9th. Bobby
Jason
Hadaway.
Williams.
Go ahead.
Jason Williams coming out of turn 4 hit that outside wall real hard, almost shot him down into the pits. Hopefully he didn't get any major damage off of that.
Oh yeah, tight, massively tight. Right now, no harm, no foul to the driver of the 40. Stays out. This first lap, tires probably wearing out here. And this is really going to come down to a tire gain, as right now Jason Williams, for those of you who
40 pitting, 40 pitting.
as Jason Williams is in this time. For those of you who do not know, the ARCA number 40 is ran by his son, Hayden S. Williams. And let me tell you, that kid, if he gets him a riding cup next year, he's going to be one of them to contend with Colton Ward and Shane Harr, just based off of his last 2 races in ARCA. Somebody to watch out for next season if he makes the jump to Cup. Meanwhile, you see Robert Hunter Rozelle trying to get his lap back. Cade pretty much saying that.
43 pitting, business time by. 84 pitting time.
Okay, so Robert, the leaders are coming in. Well,
I knew they were going to be short. I just didn't know how short they would be.
17 short to be precise. Of course, I'm sorry to those who prefer the tower ticker. I mean, this has been a strategy race right from the get-go with all the issues drivers has had. As you see now, Stanton.
See, Mike Hauser's coming in too.
He's locking them up. He might be fine. Barely. Meanwhile, Cannon stays out of the
Hopefully he didn't flat spot the tires to where he loses more grip.
Maybe he didn't.
But as we see, Cade Cannon's still staying out.
Pitting here.
And Colton Ward still out there too. I believe.
I believe he's coming
What
in.
was the last time he pitted?
Looking at our stats here, he pitted 25 laps ago. Cannon pitted 23. He pitted and came out of pits right when that last caution came out. That's how Colt actually inherited the lead.
As we speak, Colton coming into the pits.
So he went 2 laps longer, or 2 laps shorter. So that little bit of, maybe not even a gallon of fuel, could really affect track position. There's just depending on how much he saved. Right now,
He's one of the ones that still had a set of tires hanging in there. So
I'm gonna pull this.
don't count him out with him being pit road already.
I'm gonna pull this up one more time here. I know the viewers are questioning, like, well, why is Garrett pulling it up so much? Well, trying to figure, everybody else actually appears to be short pitting. I almost wonder, is the 9 trying to go the whole fuel mileage distance, potentially putting enough distance to theoretically, at least be able to fight for the lead, if not defend it. I wonder if that's what he is thinking right now. Or does that seem a little too far-fetched in your opinion?
I can see him trying to stretch it out as long as possible, but his biggest thing is you got Mike Hauser coming on fresh tires, you got Jason Williams coming on fresh tires. These guys are going to be making up a lot of time. We saw that with Shane Harr when he stayed out and tried to really extend that run. Cade's going to have to try to really keep as many people behind him as possible on those fresh tires and not let them get back in front of him to where they can really gain on him.
Meanwhile, I'm just seeing down there in the chat, Justin Millicar. Am I allowed to help broadcast the broadcasting and telling them who can and can't make it? By all means, it'll give me less of a migraine than I'm dealing with right now. So, pretty much, Justin, we'll let you take the time to do the math in the comments section here. Pretty much telling us who can possibly make it and who can't, which we know that the drivers who have already pitted can make it. It's just, how long can Cade go before he needs to pit with 13 to go here? Meanwhile, while we wait for Justin to do that math, big moment for Josh Henderson here, Robert. Oh, Elijah Fisher has had his work cut out for him tonight, dodging people, hitting the wall. So that being said, Josh Henderson running in now third. This is actually a fight for second that we're looking at, Robert, as Fisher now set sailed in a way.
And this is the time in the run that at the beginning, after 17 laps, Elijah made a charge and caught Cade. So I wonder if he's remembering that and he saved enough tire to get going like that, but it looked like a hard shot there from Josh.
Woo. Kay will not make it, so it's really a race between Elijah and Josh, according to our in-race reporter, Justin Millicar. Appreciate your help there, buddy. And right now, with 12 to go, so right now provisionally, as Cade Kennan is in this time, you see it at the bottom of the screen. Justin saying that contact was because he shut the engine off. So what does that tell you, Robert? Maybe that the 4 might be slightly short or needing just enough to get there?
Oh yeah, he's I mean, they're in fuel saving mode while trying to hold that position too. So it's going to come down to the end on who's going to get there and who had enough left in the tank and if they're able to hold on to their spot.
Well, the
So
way it
we'll see.
looks,
I'm pretty sure Josh and Elijah might have to come in and pit, but with that on that last caution, Elijah did come in and pit. So he did have a little bit more fuel in the tank than some of the other guys that did not pit that last caution.
let's ride on board with Josh here, see what he does in the corner. Listen for anything different. I mean, maybe just slightly rolling a little longer, maybe.
Yeah, that's what it just sounds. He's basically getting out of it a little bit earlier than you would, and just kind of letting it roll until he really feels like it's okay to get on that throttle.
Listen,
I mean,
Justin was right. Robert, I hate to cut you off there, sorry, but Elijah is shutting it off. Just listen down here. He's keeping great with Chris Lyota.
well, the draft is going to help him. So as long as he can stick there, he's not gonna really lose much, but it's gonna allow him to save and do this. Now it'll just be a matter of if he can actually pull it off to where he saves enough that he can push it to get back up there to Josh, unless he's just trying to save to make it to the end, hoping that Josh will run out.
See right there, I don't think he's actually cutting off. I think he's more or less pushing in the clutch and letting it ride. Or something along them lines. Either way, whatever's working, he is keeping pace with Lyota. And they are running down Jarvis Henderson. Cade Cannon just set the fastest lap of the race, however. Unless there's a caution, he will not be a factor. Running in 11th, but a time of 53.296. The first driver to break into the 53.2s, actually.
And as you can see here, Shane Hart has jumped into the chat. And he said Elijah did it the first run. He got 30 laps. He'll do it again. And Elijah's hoping for a caution. Or, I'm sorry, Shane's hoping for a caution in the chat. He was upset with his running tonight. Didn't want to do a interview after coming out of the infield care center, but he's here now with us in chat, letting us know what he wants to see out there.
Really, this is between Henry. I mean, Lyota might be saving a little bit back there for something, but really, it is going to be between Henderson and Fisher. Really, I feel like. But I don't know. Lyota and Hernandez might have something back there. With 7 to go here, as you can tell, this reminds me so much of Auto Club in the what has to be the slowest last lap. As Justin says, so what we were seeing is Josh was probably good to go to the end. However, that was with him saving. He jumped the gun, and now he's trying to save harder. So now, with Justin saying that, and Justin thinking Elijah's in a better spot, Robert, here comes the pass for the lead on the outside.
I'm almost wondering if Josh went ahead and let him go so he could save, because, like I said, as long as...
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you there, but Josh letting out way early. Back to what you were saying, though, Robert.
So what Josh is wanting to do is basically what Elijah was doing, is use that draft to keep him in it and to where he can help save even more. But we'll see. Like I said earlier, or at the start of the race, this is going to be a cat and mouse thing. And as our
on the track reporter, Justin is saying that he does not believe this is good for Elijah being out front because he's going to use more fuel.
In the same breath, do you think this is what Henderson wanted with 5 to go? Try to get that draft and save just that little bit more. Ultimately, it's going to come down to who has saved the most fuel and who is going to make it. So
I think, well, Elijah's pulling away from him, so I think it's more of Josh's saving super hard, and he's hoping that he can make it to the end, and Elijah ends up running out before getting to that front stretch, getting down there to that start-finish line. But Elijah's not. It does not look like Elijah's holding back anymore. I'm wondering if he was only a little bit off on fuel, and now he's got the green light from his crew chief saying you're good to go.
Well, he sure ain't clutching no more, that's for sure.
Leaving Josh behind.
This is Fisher's race to lose the way it looks, and it's been an up and down night for the driver of the 4. I mean, had a great run earlier, and oh God, how close you got to get to that wall? God Almighty!
Hey, he has been playing patty cake with that wall all night long.
So has a lot of other drivers, but that's besides the point. I can't even freaking put a shadow on the wall, let alone figure out how much paint it takes to paint that wall white, and whew, he almost took it off.
Thank you, Jay.
But right now,
That's all I'm trying to say.
Fisher started outside pole,
Sorry, Jordan.
fell back earlier in the race, and then had a little bit of an issue as there is
Alright.
right now a little bit of confusion between the 84 and the 12. See Jordan back there. There's actually a bit. We're going to cut back here. Look at his dog fight. Oh! Oh, God. 3 wide. 3 wide, Robert. Who's going left?
Cade powers it by.
Not so fast.
Oh.
Here comes Jordan back. This is the battle for 5th. Cade trying to fend him off for a moment. We'll tune back into Elijah Fisher has a 2.8 second lead over Josh Henderson for the moment. And right now, Kennan holding on to it. We'll focus back to the battle here. Elijah Fisher, 3 to go, almost a 3-second lead.
And he's got a teammate that is out in front of him. I guarantee he's going to use that and just stick behind him and use that to help pull him around the track.
Brent, wait. Of course, Brent Hammerhand not having a night that he wanted tonight, came into the night +7 above the cut line. That will definitely change tonight as pretty much all of his other playoff competitors are running ahead of him. But still got 2 races to go, and do not count out the 95. This is the Daytona winner.
Oh.
As you see, he lets Elijah by. Coming to the white flag this time.
I did not mean to hit that button.
I thought something happened. Somebody queued up the mic. I thought something happened. White flag in the air. Doesn't matter what happens now. They can all wreck, and it will not change the outcome of this race. Not that I want them to. Right now, Elijah Fisher, of course, the rough night Saturday night. Had a great run going in the Midnight Racing League right after the ARCA race. And, of course, it did not go the way he wanted. Looking to start this week off with a win. Through turns 3 and 4. And Robert, if you want to take it away, buddy, you can take it.
We're going to see him coming down. Hopefully he had saved enough. It looks like it has. Coming to the bricks. And Elijah Fisher is going to wrap it up. As you see, Aaron standing in the back there, bouncing off the wall. And Elijah Fisher's
taking the checkered flag here at Indianapolis.
Henderson's out of gas. And Jorno, give him a bit of a low tap. As
Flag cleared. I was trying to push Josh to the line so he finished the race.
There's a black flag and I don't see it. Whatever.
Josh needs one too because he got a penalty for that too.
Jeez almighty. So results unofficial. But one thing's for sure, Elijah Fisher, as I don't even think he's got nothing to do with burnout. He's coasting on that apron. It was close. Let's go ahead and get him in here. Elijah Fisher, Robert Wilhoit, Garrett Jenkins in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Inaugural Inspired Racing League Brickyard winner, buddy. It was not easy. Tell us about the strategy saving going on.
Oh, dude, I thought we were short like 16 times there. Dude, I think I was more worried about my fuel than I've ever been in my life about anything, dude. I was like, oh man, my teammates are hitting me here. I gotta focus up. I got 0.2 to try to do a burnout. We didn't. we won that on fumes, man.
Yeah, Elijah coming to the white flag. When you caught Brent, I was thinking that you might would have just hung out behind him to let him pull you around, but you went right by him. Was that just a courtesy move by Brent, or was that you just not going for it and it didn't matter? You ran out. What was your thinking there?
He was talking with me. He said if I needed draft to save, I could have used him, and I told him I think I was pretty much good, and I just didn't want to lose too much of a gap, and I knew it was close. I don't know how close the margin was, but at one point I saw him as 17 seconds in the relative, and the next minute I looked, they were at way lower than that. So I was like, I'm not chancing it. I gotta go, and we just, I don't know, we just had a little bit left more than everyone else.
Try to burn it down here, buddy. You're on camera.
It definitely was. It came down to you and Josh, with everybody else having to pit because of being short. The beginning of the race, Cade jumped out to a massive lead
We're out.
in the first.
There it is.
First
We're done.
in the first 17 laps, and then you just all of a sudden was powering to him. Were you thinking about that coming towards the end of the race with how big of a lead there was already again?
I just knew I didn't want to be behind anybody when it was coming down on like 3-4 to go. I knew at that point, like, I wanted to have enough fuel, and I did, just to be able to kind of battle, and I wasn't thinking about the burnout. Of course, I don't care if I run out of gas at the start-finish line. It is what it is. But to me, it was very. I had to be in front of him. I can't not be in the better position when it comes down to probably who's gonna, race it out. I feel like that's a spot I'm more comfortable with. I know a lot of people would say they'd probably want to be behind and, saving a little bit extra if they can, but I feel like that's the control spot.
Well, after a tough weekend in the Midnight Racing League and in the ARCA race last Saturday, you definitely pulled it out here. Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you.
It was a hell of a show, and go celebrate with your teammates, man. You guys, you deserve it.
Will do. Thank you.
Elijah Fisher comes in second. We will be joined
You mean
by
first?
Well, first. Sorry, I was looking at Aaron Stanton. My fault. We'll go ahead and throw Stanton in here real quick. Aaron Stanton, Garrett Jenkins, Robert Wilhoit up here in the booth. You got a copy?
What's up, Garrett?
Well, it came down to a fuel strategy race. Do you think that you were able to Do you think after that pit stop you were able to potentially get close to the lead, or did that battling with all the Chevrolets finally bite you in the butt, fuel-wise?
I mean, in all the Chevys, like me, Colton, and Jordan, we were just all working together after we pitted just to make up time. I hate nothing more than fuel mileage races. I'm not going to lie, Garrett. I was faster than these guys all race long, and it comes down to this, and I lose. So, I don't know. I'm upset.
Robert.
Just being honest.
Robert, you got anything for the man?
Aaron, I do have a question because Garrett and I was talking about this and we did bring it up. There was an incident at Chicagoland with you and Jordan when you guys got next to each other. Was there anything that was going to possibly be different where, knowing that you're locked in, would you keep pushing to try to take the win, or would you kind of, if Jordan had the position on you, would you just settle in behind him if it came down to you two to the checkered flag?
I mean, we're friends, but I told him that I'm not giving him any freebies. Like, I'm still gonna race for the win. I mean, I'll help him, but I'm not giving him freebies, you know?
Well, and that brings me to a question. Being that right now you are still locked into the playoff round, is it really, because you got three drivers, both in Mike, you got Mike Hauser, realistically two drivers with Mike Hauser and Steven hitting not far separated points wise. Do you feel like a third win would almost solidify your chances of getting in on wins alone?
This was it, Garrett. This race was it. That's why I'm so upset.
Oh, come on. You got Daytona and Bathurst.
I had it, dude. Yeah, okay. I'm not going to be good at Bathurst, and Daytona's Daytona.
Robert, you got any more questions for me?
No, I'm good. It was a heck of a show for you, bud. I'm glad to see you as a teammate coming in second. Obviously, the win would have been, the ultimate result that wanted to see, but with the performance and it coming down to the fuel mileage, coming back and finishing second, hats off to you, buddy. You did a hell of a job out there.
Yeah, thanks, man.
No problem. Aaron Stanton, he's going to hate me saying this, but he will come home second here today.
6 races in a row, by the way.
Hey, I got to go. Emergency. Take it over.
Oh. Well, with that being said, not quite sure what I can do on my end of it all with it, but let's see here.
False alarm. Sorry. All right, folks, I apologize for that. We still on the air here? Yeah, we are. And get Robert back up in here. Robert, sorry about that, but could have swore I heard somebody outside my house yelling, but
No, you're good.
it scared me to death. I swear I thought I heard somebody yelling. That's besides the point. We will get the third place driver here, who I don't know who that is no more. My mind's been rocked. Colton Ward. Garrett Jenkins got a copy.
Hello.
Buddy, it was a good night for you so far tonight. Just take us through your thoughts on did you have enough to get to the end, potentially try to compete for this win here?
On that last run?
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more, but I was just trying to stay in draft with Aaron to have the best chance to get up there. And we got second and third.
So Colton, that last stint before you had to pit, were you trying to stretch it as long as you could and save as much as you could to try to draw it out longer, or were you just going for it, bud?
The one where I kind of pitted shorter.
Yeah, when you pitted with Aaron and all them, and
I pitted about
so
with like
before that,
10 laps left.
yeah. So you actually, based off of the calculations on the ticker, you went like 2 to almost 3 laps longer than everybody else that started pitting when you did.
Yeah.
Were you just trying to push it as long as possible, or did you see that some of the guys were starting to pit, so you were like, okay, I need to pit to kind of hold the track position?
I did pit. Like I was out of gas basically, so I had to pit on that lap.
Okay. So, well, hey, you are definitely a force. You're already making everybody kind of notice you already. Definitely next year or next season, you're going to be, I guarantee, up in the contentions for that championship. Is there anybody really that you'd like to thank tonight for getting you here to the third place position?
See, I would okay. How about I'll thank the caution thrower because my car was hurt after smacking that wall.
Imagine
Yeah,
it
did you have a lot of front end damage after doing
Yeah,
that, or was it?
I hit the wall like it was a tap, and it gave me 3.5 minutes of steering wheel damage.
Oh, come on,
So
man.
like it was just hard
Yeah,
to
it-
enter the turns. It was really tight.
Look, I try to
That's
tell you.
Yeah,
That's what kind of made me get passed by a few cars.
I try to tell y'all don't buy these Temu parts to put on your car. They're not going to last all that well, but nobody listens.
yeah. I mean, I in the drivers' meeting, I try to let everybody know, hey, these walls are not forgiving. They will, you hit them just right, and they will give you a lot of damage on a small hit. When you got into the wall and got that damage, was it kind of a shock to you? Not only the amount of damage that you got, but how light the hit was for you to get that damage?
From what I'm used to, like in the actual Cup cars that's in that wall, I'm pretty sure that would have been no damage in those cars, and then that ended up being 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, that's unfortunately that is the Indianapolis walls. That being my home track, I see a lot of racing there, in the NASCAR series and everything, and that wall tends to jump out and bite you sometimes. So, but coming over that, home in third place, a heck of a showing, especially being the highest position gainer starting in 19th. We talked about it at the beginning of the race that, we said within, so many laps you were going to be up front and with the leaders. And it actually took you, I believe it took you like 2 laps to get up into the top 10 real quick, and then you just were there all night. Was the qualifying starting in the back, was that kind of a strategy thing, or did you guys have a mishap on your qualifying run to where it didn't get you where you wanted to start.
I mean, it wasn't a mishap. It was just on purpose, but but it wasn't really a strategy either.
Gotcha.
It's just I just like started back there.
Gotcha. Well,
But
hey, heck of
I
a
will I will say that first run it was pretty fun getting around everyone there. Like
Well, yeah,
I
we
think in
watched it.
3 laps I got in like sixth.
yeah. We definitely pointed it out because I said from the beginning, before we took the green flag, even though you were starting back there, you were going to be the one to really watch, and you wanted to see excitement. Just keep an eye on you. So it was heck of driving, man. Awesome coming home third place, and just keep it up, man. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Yep. With that being said, Robert, don't get him. I'll just drop him somewhere. That being said, Robert, we're gonna go ahead and go through the grid tonight, or not through the grid, but through the results. God Almighty, I'm messed up now. Elijah Fisher able to stretch the fuel economy game and take the win here at the inaugural Brickyard, running for Inspired Racing League. Aaron Stanton second, Colt Ward third. Cade Cannon, after an up and down battle, will bring it home fourth. And for what a debut for Thomas Hernandez. He will come in fifth tonight. Jordan Jorno still maxed out on the points, and he is actually the highest running of the bubble drivers right now. We're excluding Cannon and Stephen Henning because they are light years still above the points, at least a whole race worth. Mike Hauser, last week's winner, not able to go back to back tonight. He will finish in seventh. Jason Williams finishes eighth after what was a great run for him tonight. Chris Lyotta ninth. Bobby Hadaway rounds out the top 10. AJ Thompson 11th. Hunter Rozelle, it was a great debut until the incident with the 21 triggering the first multi-car incident, but he is able to salvage a 12th place run. Josh Henderson, who actually I believe the incident points caught up with him, or somehow he is placed 13th. We will get word on that later on, and if that is the case, Robert, that is going to dealt another blow to his what was a 14-point lead coming into tonight. Brett Hammerhand, of course, came in 7th, and he will walk out 14th, not needing to run with 2 races to go in the regular season. Stephen Henning will finish 15th, 1 lap down, and then Shane Har and Darcy Har 16th, 17th, neither the runs that they wanted. Shane, of course, had a rough start right from the get-go. Jay Manon, or Manin, the 67 Munyon, thank you, comes in 18th, and then Robert McKay will round out the field in 19th. That being said, Robert, I apologize to you and the viewers for a little bit of a scare. I ain't gonna go into detail about it, but it was just something I ain't gonna talk about right now. But nothing bad happened, thank the Lord. But buddy, I appreciate you joining me up here in the booth tonight. It was a amazing Brickyard race, and I don't think we both expected this. Great racing, few cautions. Yeah, what was your take on tonight?
It was definitely a great race. It's a tough track to tame for even how big it is, how spacious it can get. We saw it early with Shane having some issues with the wall, and once you start getting into that wall, it just keeps beating you. So, definitely huge props to everybody. Awesome job by Elijah playing that fuel mileage. When we pulled him in for that interview, he said he had 0.2 like gallons left, or to there at the end. I mean, he stretched it about as far as you could possibly go.
Which is impressive.
So
to say
it
the
just
least.
that, yeah, it's definitely hands down. This is a track that is hard to really work. You're definitely racing the track at all angles. Um, just a heck of a job to all the guys out there tonight.
With that being said, Robert, real quick, we're just going to look at the rest of the schedule since just to reiterate, next Monday, I'm just going to call it Bathurst. Forget trying to pronounce that name. Bathurst, June 16th. Well, you can pronounce. We know who went to college and who didn't. Bathurst next Monday, and then the regular season finale, Daytona, the full 400 miles, 160 laps. We are hoping that there's a bit of a big turnout. And then the playoff start, Darlington, June 30th, Atlanta, the old Atlanta, not Super Speedway. Sorry, folks. July 7th. And then we get technically 3 short tracks. Bristol, Wilkesboro, New Hampshire, July 14th, 21st, and 28th. And then finally, Robert, for any of the 8 hopefuls, their last chance to make the Final Four, we'll have to go through Charlotte, 150 laps there, and then the big day where everybody's going to be waiting for. August 11th, Miami, Final Four, the best 4 drivers, 150 laps. 1 champion will walk out, and 3 other drivers will walk away thinking what could have been in the quest to crown the inaugural Inspired Racing League champion. Once again, Robert, thank you again for tuning into the broadcast, buddy. It was an awesome race.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It is no problem, buddy. With that being said, he's Robert Wilhoit. I'm Garrett Jenkins. This has been the Raging Idiot Racing Network. Until we all see again, everybody have a good one. Thank you.